All right. I'll try this again. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you all this afternoon. I'm glad you all could make it out in all this rainy weather. All of the candidates for our great city of Kinston are here to join us on this. Welcome you. This perhaps maybe the center, but we welcome you to the Golden Progress Community Center. Pretty much laid out there. I think you can find the restrooms are in the back. All right, and if we have to leave in a hurry, that is an exit. But be careful, if you run out there, you run right out into the street. All right, and then the rest of them are all here too. So we're going to get started because we know y'all are excited about getting back home to hear the debate tonight. And perhaps maybe we can get some things going that will allow you all to get back and have your time on that little mission that's going on later on this afternoon. My name is Robert Kuntz. I am the pastor of New Hope Ministries next door, and also the co-founder of the Golden Progress Community Center, but that's not why you all are here. You all are here because you're running for public office, and we just want to invite you all and welcome you all here this afternoon and to hear from you all personally, your concerns, your vision, and your ideas concerning the Board of Commissioners, which is a part of our local government. And we're recognized that we do have the Honorable Linda Sutton, who's already has served and serving currently as the chairperson of that great board. And therefore, we know the importance of the county commissioner. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay some stuff out for you. A couple of 3 things here that we jotted down. Nothing deep, so don't get nervous. Okay. It's not that deep, but we will allow you to come forth and introduce yourselves and perhaps maybe explain exactly who you are so that the community at large, I know it kind of seems like they're not here, but trust me, these young people, they're on Facebook, y'all. They're on Zoom, y'all. They see y'all. And then we have in our audience, I have to recognize my lovely mother sitting over there in the corner, y'all. That's my angel there. She's the one that got it all started, along with one of the officers from St. James Church. Brother Clyde is joining us personally, and there may be some other folks that'll tip in on us, okay? But we're gonna try to expedite this so it won't be a long time. And we got a list here. We're gonna just go down this list and allow you all to come and to explain who you are, how you might best able to serve on the Board of Commission, and what you would like to bring, what's your vision for the community to have a hearing to see for themselves and hear from the horse's mouth. Word of mouth is good, but if it comes from the right source, you can do the right thing with it. All right? Have a couple of topics we'll share after everybody has come forth and introduced themselves as we go through this cycle. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I'm not really nervous, I'm just scared, okay? So don't pay it no mind, but we'll work our way through this. I'm not a politician by no means, neither am I too much in the public arena, but I'm getting started. So, Miss Linda Sutton, County Commissioner, would you come up and introduce yourself? We do have a live mic here for you. So, who am I? Explain.
Who am I? My name is Linda Rouse Sutton, and I am Lenoir County native. Have been here all my life, with the exception of 5 years when I lived in Cary, when it was nice, quiet, suburban Cary, not like it is now. I attended high school here. I did not attend college, although I had the opportunity to, because I fell in love. And I did what I swore I would not do. I married a farmer and worked harder than I had ever worked growing up on the farm. But anyway, after that, I went to school, worked with the school system. That was my first job, which I really enjoyed. And We moved to Raleigh for 5 years, like I said, and I worked with the Department of Administration Budget Division. And at that time, Harold Hardison was our senator, and he invited me over one day for lunch where he was serving, and he then had me go up in the galley and had me to observe the General Assembly as it was going on, and I guess that's where the bug bit. But really, the way I got involved in politics was when my daughter was in kindergarten. She would come home and take a 2-hour nap, and the kid had never taken a nap before. And come to find out, when I went out to the school at 11 o'clock, it was 91 degrees in their classroom. So you can imagine how bad it was. So that was sort of where I got involved, and eventually led up to being on the school board. And then after that, I served as the president of the State Employees Association of North Carolina, 55,000 members, anything from a janitor to a director of a facility. And then after that, I decided to run for county commissioner because I took a leadership course, and you had to make a promise that you would either come back and seek appointment to a board or you would seek election. And so I sought election on the county commissioners and was elected, and have been serving on there since 2008. So I've seen a lot of changes. I've learned a lot, still learning. And, you know, you hear a lot of negative about Lenoir County, but I tend to accentuate the positive because a lot of people don't take in consideration the entire makeup of our county. When you look at the economic makeup of our county and you look at what the age level is and the taxes that come in, we've really had some phenomenal things that happen in Lenoir County. When you look at other counties that are in the same situation we are, they don't have the things that we have, and we're lacking a lot. But there are things that are really beginning to happen, and you know, if we just hadn't had these little setbacks with these hurricanes and this COVID-19, I think we really begin to see some exciting things happen. But they're still in the works, and so I had sort of almost gotten to the point that our board, we were doing what we needed to do, but I wanted us to do more, and I really had decided I would not seek re-election. And then we had a new county manager to come in. We had a board retreat, which we've never had before. And we did a strategic plan, and then a few things started happening. And I just got excited more so than I'd ever been. And so then I changed my mind. And also my mother was in bad shape at that time, and I wanted to spend as much time with her as I could. And then I used to love and go get my grandchildren out of school. Well, my mom passed away, and my grandchildren got old enough, they were in school full time, so you don't go take them out. So that sort of left a little bit of a void in my life, and so I decided that I would seek re-election with the things that were going on. And I've always been a public servant. I've done volunteering in 4-H. I've had after-school programs at LaGrange, at Teachers Memorial, at Sampson. I've worked with JCPC. I've worked with DSS. I've been a liaison to the Community College Board. You just go on and on and on, and I keep learning more all the time. So it's my way of giving back. I've never been a person with a lot of financial means or anything, but my parents told me you should always give back. And so this has been my way of giving back, and I've been humbled and very honored to have served for as long as I have, and would like one more term. And that's probably more than you wanted to hear about me.
Excellent, because who knows what your heart is unless you explain it to us.
That's right.
And thank you for your service. I also want to, my condolences to your mother passing on and things of that nature. You know, those loved ones leave us, it does create a void. However, I do have a couple of questions here, Ms. Sutton, before you go. And one of them is equality. What is your vision as the board itself, and you being able to be on the board currently? What is your vision towards the equality of the board, the proper representation of across all demographics on the board?
To me, equality is when that every citizen that you represent is afforded the same opportunities that everyone is. You shouldn't have folks who can't afford health care, and you shouldn't have kids who can't get the same kind of education that other kids do. So, you know, you'll never have it as perfect as you want it. I mean, you have to be realistic also, but I think there are always areas that you can work on to improve it. And we are not by any means where we need to be. And I think if we can get some more and better jobs in here so that our folks will have a better opportunity to, you know, to work and make a good wage. That's the thing that has always been a big thing on my plate, is to have a good wage. I lobbied and worked real hard with the State Employees Association so that none of our state employees were making less than $15 an hour. We had a lot of state employees who were making $21,000. How in the world does a family, even if it's only two people, live off of $21,000 a year? And you're just not being realistic. And so that's the thing that I would like to continue, as I have always worked to do, is to you know, see what we can do to make a difference and to make some changes, more significant changes.
I did hear you also mention a little bit about the progress that the board was progressing towards, that kind of turned you around and kind of gave you a different view of not seeking re-election. However, with our job situation in the city and Lenoir County, do you have a view on that situation as far as serving on the board? How would you bring some interest, or can you fill in some information of how you might see that the commission could help bring jobs to our city and county?
First of all, I learned a long time ago that you as an individual aren't going to do anything. You got to have at least 3 members to go along with you, so you've got to have a team. And I had never been involved on a board before where you didn't have a retreat, because it's really hard to get to know each other and to see how everyone feels and the background they're coming from when all you do is go to a formal meeting. And other than formal meetings and our work sessions, that's all we'd ever done. Well, I'd never served on a board that way. We always got to know each other, and, you know, we got to have some real flexible time and some leisurely time that you could just talk and get to know each other, because you learn about the struggles that each one of you have been through, or that your community has been through. So that had been one of my dreams that I had wanted to see us do. And so when Michael became county manager, and he and I sat down the first time, because I was the chair at that time, I told him that I would like to have a retreat. And he looked at me and he said, "You don't have retreats now?" And I said, "No, sir. I've never been on a retreat since we've been on this board." He said, "Well, we're going to have one." I said, "Yes, that's what I want to hear." So we did, and we got an outside group that came in, and they sort of facilitated and sort of made us get out of our comfort zones a little bit. And we had to look at things sort of long range. And we did develop a strategic plan, which focuses a lot on economic development, which we're right now in the process of combining with Greene County and Wayne County to have a regional office at the GTP. Our economic developer will be Mark Pope, who was formerly our economic developer, who is very well known and respected throughout the state. And of course, Keely Kuntz will be assisting him, and we're just getting, in fact, we'll probably vote on that at our next meeting, the contract in place. So we're very excited about that, because most of us know that, like Raleigh and Greensboro and those places, they have more representatives in the legislature than the whole East has got. So how fair is that? So that only way that we're really going to be able to make some progress as far as the legislature is concerned, and the Congress also, is we have got to work together as a region. Because if Craven County gets a big plant, more than likely some of our folks are going to work there, just like we've got some coming from them. And it's going to lift them up. And I've always been taught, you know, when you lift the boat up, it lifts everybody up. And that's what we want. So that's one of the things that we have really looked at that I think will be good. And it's been a real challenge with COVID-19, but we've got the big plant that's coming. The guy from Germany, you know, is bringing over here. And bless his heart, he's quarantined in Germany and about to have a fit to get over here and help us. But that's pretty much, what I feel so far as economic development. Does that answer your question?
I think so. I think that gives us some idea of your thought of where we're going in the future. One other thing, just briefly, don't want to weigh out or nothing, but we all are aware of the current environment that we're dealing with today with law enforcement and how that is impacting not only the city and the county, but the whole nation. What is your view about the local law enforcement here? And do you see any needs that may need to be improved in the way that the law enforcement is being operated here in the Kinston area or Lenoir County?
Definitely. Of course, we only have control over the sheriff's department and those folks. Our folks are way underpaid, and we've got to do something about that. And I think if you will go back and look at the tapes of our meetings way back, I'm talking 3 and 4 years back, that I've always been a proponent for that. That's another thing that Michael and I have worked very hard on, was to get a pay study done. And we did that as well as the whole board, against a lot of opposition because people didn't understand why we had to have a pay study. But what we wanted to do was to compare apples to apples so that, you might make more salary in this county, but your benefits might not be as good. So we wanted to make sure we had a good picture. What we found was that we are lacking, which we knew that pretty much in some areas. A few little areas were a little bit above standard. And our hope, and I was so excited that this year that we would get that started, but because of COVID-19, we were unable to. So that's where we're going to start. The cost will be so great, we can't do it all at one time, but we will be phasing in, and the groups that are the lowest are the ones that we will start with first. And I'm sure that will be the deputies and sheriff's department.
All right. Thank you so much then for your time.
Thank y'all for having this.
We appreciate you coming out. You can just lay it right up there. Thank you for coming out. We're not going to tarry very long, but we do have some other candidates to come up. Now we're going to ask Miss Tiffany Crawford. I love to mess with Tiffany. Miss Tiffany Crawford. She's married a friend of mine, so I always gonna have to tease with her a little bit. But who are you, Tiffany?
So, good evening, everyone, and good evening to my peers who are up here today. Good evening to everyone who showed up. Good evening to everyone who's watching. We wish you could be here, and any other day, we would be together. My name is Tiffany Kuntz Crawford. I'm a candidate for Lenoir County Commissioner at Large. A little bit about me. I grew up in Eastern North Carolina. I grew up in East Kinston. Actually, I graduated from Kinston High School in 2005. I went to North Carolina Central University after I graduated for about 3 years. When I started out, I was a music education major, and then I took a music theory class, and that was over for me. So I decided, it was over. I was a music ed major, and I joked with Mr. Richburg that you taught me how to play, and nobody could outplay me. But when I got in that music theory class, it was over. Your son could pass music theory, but I could not. Nevertheless, I changed my major to sociology. I was a teenage mother, so my mom was caring for my son at that time. My mother wound up getting ill. I wound up coming home. I lost my way a little bit. I was disturbed about not being able to finish college at that time. So I worked a few odds and end jobs. I started working at a service station known as Spinks under Miss Kimberly Michelle. And as I worked there, I would share with some of the officers that would come and visit me my goals and some of my visions. And one of those officers was the now retired Sergeant Dennis Taylor. And I always tell people that he's my sergeant daddy. So he would come to the Spinks and he would visit me, and he would be like, this is not you. I can tell that you're yearning for more. So he said that, there's an opening at the sheriff's office. So I went and I applied at the sheriff's office. I worked there for about 1.5 years. After 1.5 years, I was promoted by Captain Cahoon at that time to detention corporal. In the midst of me working for the sheriff's office, I became involved in the NAACP. NAACP. I became involved in local politics, and lo and behold, I had found my calling. So Tiffany is a servant. I'm a person that believes in social justice. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a local advocate. I believe that elected officials can't separate governing from being an advocate. While we know that you have to do those duties and you have to look at the paperwork and you have to look at the budget, you can't forget about the people. So I ran for office because while I was a member of Lenoir County Sheriff's Office as an employee, I was impacted directly by a decision that they made to switch from med costs to Blue Cross Blue Shield. My health care costs went from about $450 a month to $740 a month with the family plan. And I was in a meeting where deputies and detention officers and county employees were weeping because of the devastating cost. And in that moment, I realized what government looks like when the focus is business and when the focus is the budget and the money. Not that that's not important. You have to look at that. But I believe that government should always consider people first. So I think that tells you who I am. I don't want to keep talking. I'm good at that. I'll keep right on going. So you cut me off.
That's a good point, right? That take a station break. But you were working in law enforcement, in some division of law enforcement, I understand. So give us your take on our current, as I said, asked Sister Linda there. And maybe support the interaction between the community and law enforcement, that we don't really ever get to a place where we have to become violent and hostile and all this stuff because of our police officers. We should be proud of them and respect them, but there has to be some things that we're going to have to address. How would you address some of those things? And
I'll start here. I was just talking about this the other day. So previously, I was very biased. I worked with some of the greatest people in Lenoir County. Me and Chad didn't work in the same agency, but I would be working in the detention center a lot of times when he brought people in. So I was originally very biased because I worked with some great and amazing people, right? And I would say things like, you know what, there are really good officers, but you know, we just need to weed out I like to engage, I'm sorry. There's some really good officers, but we need to weed out the bad apples. And then I began listening to other perceptions and opening my mind up and paying attention to what was happening when we saw things like George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and all of these different things that were transpiring. And it hit me like, this is not about bad apples. This is not about good cops and bad cops. This is about a systemic issue, whereas you can be working for an agency and nothing ever happens, but there can be one moment that can be devastating, right? So it isn't about good cops and bad cops. It's about systemic racism and the functioning of that system that has allowed these outcomes. And what we have to remember is that people's perception is real, you know, on both sides, right? On both sides, people's perception is real. But when you say body cameras, the sheriff's office, and I know as an employee, they face a lot of issues financially. I mean, there's only so much money. And with our current tax base right now, they have to be very strategic with how they spend that money. But as a millennial, I believe in creativity and I believe in innovation. I believe that if we have to go out there and get grant money so we can get those body cameras, that's what we need to do. But I also, again, understand that it can cost a lot of money. I know Chad knows this. The data to, the recording data to hold that stuff also costs a lot of money. But we have to try to figure it out, because what happens is when we have situations that happen and there was no body camera there to tell the story, you have he said and she said, and then you have people coming up against each other. So we need body cameras so there can be transparency. But I do know that Sheriff Ingram does an amazing job. I know that he's open to any ideas. I've had a conversation with him before, and he'll say, Tiffany, you're bringing me some problems, but I need for you to figure out the solutions. So if we bring him the problem and the solution, I know we can figure out how to get it addressed. But as Ms. Linda said, there's no one individual on the board. I have a vision, I have a desire, but if you can't get other 3 people to go with you, you won't be able to get it done. But again, it's about systemic racism. It isn't about good cops and bad cops. Absolutely. So what I know in this moment and what I'll tell the people is this. I know for a fact that no one has ever ran who is like me. I believe that I am the candidate for this particular season. I think differently just because I was born and raised in a different time. So I look at the issues and the societal issues that we have differently. So one thing that's very passionate to me, obviously because I worked in a detention center, is criminal justice reform and public safety. Not only do we need to reform the individuals that continuously come through our facilities because of recidivism, but we need to make sure that we have a public safety standpoint where people also feel safe. But I dare say this to people, when I say criminal justice reform, I get a lot of slack because of that. Criminal justice reform locally, statewide, and nationally will boost your local economy. Because if you give people who are incarcerated in Lenoir County Detention Center something to do, if you create a GED program, partner with the local community college like Sheriff Dance has done, not only do you give people hope, but you get people who are in that facility with a mindset, something else to think about. Wouldn't you prefer, over 90% of people that are incarcerated come back home? The people that, it isn't just everybody's going away and going to be locked up, throw away the key. Most of these people are coming home. Wouldn't we rather have a system whereas they are being reformed and rehabilitated and given some type of hope while they are incarcerated and then come home a better person and reduce the chances of them committing that crime again? So one of my passions is criminal justice reform. Another passion of mine is looking at our cancer rates in Lenoir County. This may not necessarily be a board issue per se, but if we're going to represent the board, we have to look at all of the issues that impact the citizens of Lenoir County. In Lenoir County, we continue to have one of the highest cancer rates in the state. And my question is this: is there an environmental justice issue? Is there an issue where people need to get more educated on health and wellness? What is going on? But we have to start looking at these things at the very least to be able to address them. Lenoir County also, in East Kinston, where I grew up, one of the most socioeconomically distressed areas in the state of North Carolina. Another goal of mine is to see us come together as a community. LaGrange Town Council can't be doing one thing and Kinston doing another thing and Pink Hill doing another thing, and then the county board is doing another thing. It's like the theory of what we call organicism. The body cannot function without the other part. And if we're all doing different things within those bodies, we're not going to get a good result. So it is my desire that we bring all of those entities together and that we have at least a biannual meeting with all of the local municipalities so we can see what the smaller communities within our larger community are doing to create growth and prosperity. Am I talking too much?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
He wants me to be quiet. I love you all.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
not that I want you to be quiet. We're just trying to expedite some time here on today. All right. Wonderful. That's Miss Tiffany Coons Crawford, y'all, and she's just sharing some wonderful things. Give me just a few minutes. I want to do a little hygiene to your microphone. Miss June Cummins, as you come and tell us about who you are.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate so much you hosting this town hall tonight so we have an opportunity to get our message out. My name is June Cummings. I moved to Kinston in 1974 and have lived here ever since. I love Lenoir County. I love this city. I have been involved in the community since day one. I went to work with Lenoir County Mental Health Center, my first job here in town, and ended up staying there until 2001. I served as the director of Lenoir County Mental Health Center for 20 years. And I will speak to something real quickly about law enforcement. During that time, we had a very close relationship with our both city police and our sheriff's department, because people with mental health issues, substance abuse issues, may find themselves in conflict at times and have to have intervention by law enforcement to get them the services and the help they need. My experience has been throughout, we have some of the best. They're trained, they treat everybody that they come in contact, particularly in the groups I'm talking about, with dignity and respect. I saw the training. I was a part of that back then. So I was very proud of what we were able to do then. In 2001, I retired and I went to work with Lenoir Green United Way. And at one point in time, we were funding 18 different organizations, nonprofits that met the needs, emergency needs, as well as ongoing needs in our community. I-Corps, Interchurch Outreach, trying to think of some of the others, Salvation Army. All of these agencies have done so much to make a difference. But I'm going to tell you the thing that made the difference for me. This was 2016. I got a call, October 2016, from Roger Dale, who was emergency manager then in the emergency management office. And so I went down to see him, and it was Hurricane Matthew. I'd worked in the EOC many times, providing resources and information and referral. But I went down to see him that night, and he said, June, I need you to set up an unmet needs committee for our community, because so many people were devastated by Hurricane Matthew. So I loved working in emergency management office in the EOC. I met all the people there. I loved all these professional men and women. And the part that touched my heart so much is on December 13th of 2016, I had to call 911. My husband died suddenly. And these same guys came to my house, and they took care of me. And so I went right back to work after Christmas, and we set up Kinston area recovery efforts. And that organization has met the needs of, I don't know how many, 300 families who were impacted by the floods and the hurricane damage. So CARE is what it's called. I'm still on that board. We met last week. We're trying to finish up some of the Florence homes that were damaged. So that was one of the highlights of my life, to be able to be involved in that. I am a member of the Kinston Rotary Club. Our motto is service above self. I believe in that. I'm continuing to work on various programs now, including a trustee of the Lenoir Community College. I'm serving on the Hospital Foundation Board to raise funds for different resources for our hospital and our health community. Very close to the health department, the staff there because COVID, but both of my parents work with public health, and so I know health department anyway because I grew up with it. I served on the Board of Social Services, so I'm very aware of the funding that goes along with that. Mental health was a multi-million-dollar budget. I presented budgets to our county managers throughout the years, and whenever we had our budget presented this year, I had a flashback to when I had to prepare those budgets. So I know how significant that is and how important it is to look at every dollar. So that's who I am. I'm a member of Presbyterian Church. And before COVID, I sang in the choir. Can't tell it from this voice, but back then I could. I'm the moderator for Presbyterian Women. I'm a mother and a grandmother of 8 grandchildren. They don't live here, which means I don't have to babysit a whole lot. So I am able to get out in my community and do things that help people. I hope you'll call on me if I can help. In January of this year, I was appointed by the commissioners to fill the seat that of Mr. Reuben Davis, who was a dear friend of mine when he passed away. It's been an honor and a privilege. I didn't expect to have to deal with a pandemic and the loss of revenues that came along with that, but we're doing our best job for you, and I hope you'll continue to support me in that.
All right. Well, now don't rush off. Let me see. You
What's
covered a lot of stuff there, but your vision for the community going forward, if you're serving on the board, what vision do you bring to
There are a couple of things right now because of COVID. We have to support our public health community because it's real, folks. It's impacting people left and right. In fact, we were just talking about someone in the southern part of the county who passed away recently from it. We have to be able to get good information out to our community that they can trust, so they'll know how to respond, how to keep safe. So that's one of the things we need to do until this pandemic is over. I have served, as I said, on the Board of Trustees at Lenoir Community College, and I see directly the link between education and jobs, the economy. Last night we were talking about graduates from the truck driving, getting the CDL license. You know, these people are gonna make some good money. Talking about welders making $20, $25 an hour. The new businesses that are coming in. Our community college will have the best trained workforce so we can recruit. So those are my major things. This strategic plan that Ms. Sutton mentioned, I cannot wait to get started on it. I want to look at the salary issues because having worked with community mental health, I know what that means. And we will need to continue to find ways to be innovative, to make a difference. As I said, my thing is I love Lenoir County, and my vision for it is for us to continue to grow. There are so many things in the hamper right now that are getting ready to come up. We're going to be able to, we're going to bust loose as soon as we can.
All right. Thank you so much. Now,
I thought you were going to ask me about diversity, and I just think there ought to be at least 3 women on the board.
You want another one here before you go?
I just think there ought to be at least 3 women on the board.
At least 3 of them to the minimum. Well, you know, I got a whole list of them here. I got some on the front, on the back.
No.
Excellent. I think you've done a wonderful job too. And before you go, perhaps maybe we get you to come back and just talk to the community again and remember your name and your face. And to also my condolences go to you. I heard you say the departure of your husband, but thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. We don't want to rush anybody, but I know. Jimmy, where you at, Jimmy? There's Jimmy Parks, y'all. Come on up, Jimmy. How you doing this evening, sir? Good to see you. And also, you want to talk to the camera right there and just tell them, yeah, who am I?
Okay. I am Jimmy Parks. I am a resident of Lenoir County since 1962. My family raised on a family farm. My parents moved from Wayne County over to Lenoir County in the Little Baltimore community, and so I was raised on a tobacco farm. I'm very familiar with hard work, so I had a good life coming up, working and learning what hard work was and is still today. I am currently employed with North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, Lenoir County Farm Bureau right here in Lenoir County. I've been with Farm Bureau for 33 years. And one of the biggest blessings that I've had in my career is that I've had interaction with so many people of different races. And I can truly say that I have met so many good friends, both black and white and Hispanic. And so me hearing the other ones talk about diversity or inequality and things of that nature, I'm very familiar with it. So I have had that fortune of doing that. And I can honestly say that I treat each person the same. I have been in the homes of people losing loved ones, carrying them a life insurance death check. I've been in the homes or been with people losing their home due to fire, hurricane, floods. And I never looked at color, never looked at economic status. I looked at the person as a customer, as a friend, and someone in need. And so from that standpoint, I've been blessed. I'm married, Janice Parks. She's a 1975 graduate of North Lenoir High. I'm a 1974 graduate of North Lenoir High. I currently serve on the North Lenoir Water Corporation Board of Directors as their president. And so I'm familiar with budgets, hiring employees, help with the Farm Bureau Insurance Board budget each year. And so I know what it's like to have a budget there that's wanted and one that's needed. And so I think that my experience in that will be a help to me if I'm fortunate enough to be elected. I am running for District 3, where June is running. Someone asked me the other day, who was I running against? I'm not running against June. Lenoir County's blessed tonight to have all of us candidates up here. Don't mean that in a bragging way, but we all care. We care about our fellow man. We care about our county. We care about the city. And so I've left it up to the Lord. If I win, I win. If she wins, she wins. Either way, Lenoir County wins because we got good candidates. And Linda spoke of something a few minutes ago about opposition to the study. And I was an opponent to what the county commissioners did with the study. Only until and up until I had the fortune of sitting with Michael James. Last week, Steve Sainaman and I sat with Michael James. And I'm gonna tell you folks, Lenoir County is blessed to have that man as our county manager. When he explained to me, and I told him that I was an opponent of it, but when he explained to me that 2 people were doing the work of what it probably took 4 people to do, and then they would have had to do that study, I can honestly say, I said to myself, I'm wrong about my opposition to it. Because we are in a tight budget situation with Lenoir County. And, you know, you can work people to the bone, so to speak. And so keeping morale in the department is a very important job that he has every day. He's not just a numbers man. I'm not just a numbers man at Farm Bureau Insurance. People say, how many customers do you have, Jimmy? I say 5,000. You can't have that many customers. I say we have 5,000 families that we serve. And I've been the manager for Lenoir County Farm Bureau the past 25 years. So they were all my customers. And when there was a problem, they came to me. I try to solve problems based on honesty, values, and what would I want to be treated like if I was in that same position? We have some things coming up in Lenoir County that I think are promising. I have always been a firm believer in the transport. Not probably what it would do for me at my age, but for my kids and my grandkids. I have 2 sons. One, Michael, lives across the road from me and Janice out at Institute. And my younger son lives in Jackson, Mississippi. And my grandkids are going to be just like everyone else's grandkids. Are they going to move away from Lenoir County? Are they going to move away to find a job? And so in my running for county commissioner, the 3 things that's the top of my list, and I've tried to say some things that you've asked the other ones of questions, is I support the local law enforcement. big supporter of law enforcement. I'll use an example. I was on Roseanne Drive the other day. I came up to the four-way stop. I stopped, but I didn't completely stop. I went on across, it's blue light. The nicest young black male stopped me and come up beside my car. He says, Mr. Parks, and well, after he introduced himself and I told him who I was and showed him my driver's license. He said, wait here in your car and I'll be back. Now, I'm not telling this for him to get in trouble for not giving me a ticket, but I want to tell it so that people will know this is the type of person I am. He come back to my car, and he said that he gave me a warning ticket. But during the time that he was in his car and I was in mine, it was revealed to me that this man is doing his job. I was wrong. And it was also revealed to me to tell him, thank you for doing your job, son, and God bless you. It made my day, and I think it made his day, because not all cops are bad cops. I'm not in favor of defunding the police. I think we need more law enforcement. This young man here, I watched him grow up, and I feel like what I know about him, he serves the community and the city of Kinston in a fair and honest way. I happen to think a lot of our sheriff, Ronnie Ingram, met and talked with him before. He lives in my district. Good man, good for the county. So I just look forward to having this opportunity. I told Linda a while ago, I'll be glad when this election is over with, because I'm going to be a winner either way, because I've had a good experience meeting people, being out in the community. And these people, some of them, Chad and Steve, and some more of the Republicans, we have been different areas and different things, talked to different things, situations with people. I'm running as an unaffiliated candidate. I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. And the reason I chose unaffiliated is I'm not married to a party. Just because a party wants to do something don't mean I want to do it. I'm more interested in the person than I am ideologies. And so if I'm elected as county commissioner, I will vote what I feel is best for the person, the issue, and the county. And I thank you for inviting me here tonight, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. But I've tried to cover some of the things. Let's say one thing about diversity, inequality. 2016, the Economic Policy Institute stated that Lenoir County and the city of Kinston was the highest rated county and city in the state of North Carolina for having inequality. So with more economic growth, we're going to be able to offer jobs that will hire different races, different opinions, but all for one cause, and that's to make Lenoir County better. I am a firm believer that if a person's qualified to do a job, it doesn't matter the color of their skin, if they were raised on the mansion on the hill, or if they were raised in a farmhouse out on the farm. Because if you think about it, a lot of your leaders are just like us. They started with humble beginnings, and they're here because they had a desire to do better. And so I just wanted to throw that in about the thing. But I am appreciative. One other thing I'm running on is I support our fire departments, local EMS. I'm a retired volunteer fireman, 25 years of service, and also support our schools. our schools is so important to all of us. It should be, because the kids are what matter. I've raised my children. I'm watching them, helping them raise theirs. But I want to leave Lenoir County in a better place for them when I'm gone on. That's it.
All right, thank you, Brother Parks, for those remarks, and also for your kind words of improving our city and our county.
Yeah.
And there's really, that was something that we strove to do here with the town hall. We didn't want to cater to any party or anything. We wanted to invite all the candidates to come, have an opportunity to interface with the community. They will make their decision.
Sure.
And we all will make our decisions. So thank you so much for coming and sharing with us this evening. And hopefully, who knows? You never know what the Lord has in store for you next.
Believe that.
All right, take care. We're going to now move to Mr. Steve Satterman. That's a beautiful name. Claire, I need to borrow that sometimes. Is that okay?
Sure.
Brother Steve?
Yes, sir.
Well, who are you?
Okay. Thank you, Pastor, for allowing me to come tonight. Certainly, very, very pleased and honored to have this opportunity. So, my name is Steve Satterman. I'm a recently retired principal in Lenoir County Public Schools. I taught at South Lenoir High School for 16 years. Left South Lenoir and went to North Duplin High School, which was actually my alma mater, where I went to high school. And I was raised in Duplin County and was a first-time administrator there for 2 years, and then was fortunate to be able to come back to Lenoir County again, and where I came back to South Lenoir High School, where I served as principal for the last 10 years. John was one of my former students years ago. So certainly I've been blessed to be able to work with Lenoir County Public Schools for 26 years. Just recently retired as of July 31st, 2020. My wife is an educator in Lenoir County as well. She is a South Lenoir graduate. We live in Deep Run. She's just retired as well. And we have 3 beautiful daughters. I have a 24-year-old daughter who's finishing up pharmacy school right now, doing a rotation. I have a 21-year-old who just graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And we have a 6-year-old. You do the math there, that's 24, 21, and 6. So I'm 51 years of age, and I've got a first-grade daughter. So life is really good. Life is really good. But it is with the same wife, I might add. So, like I say, my entire experience for the most part has been in education. I've always served. I've always looked at Lenoir County Public Schools and looked at my job as a servant. I've always had to deal with parents, whether it was as a teacher in classroom situation, whether it was a coaching situation, or now when it became time for the last 10 years as a principal and everything, dealing with all kinds of issues. One of the things a lot of people don't realize, talking about diversity and so forth, is that South Lenoir is, people don't realize, is the most diverse school in the county. South Lenoir High School is a school that is 58%, today is 58% white, 21% Hispanic, 21% African American. There's no other school in the county that has 20% diversity of 3 different subgroups and so forth. So we're very much have seen over the years the number of people who have moved from the city out into the country and so forth. It is. I put all my bank and so forth into education. I see that as the future of where we have to go moving forward. If we want our county to improve and we want our future to be where it's going to be, it's going to be in the public school system. It is going to be our students getting the education they need to be able to be successful, to bring in these better paying jobs and so forth. Others have already talked about things such as global transport. Speaking with Michael James the other day, thoroughly enjoyed seeing his vision and so forth, where more and more industries are going to come to Lenoir County, as a regional type hub and so forth with other counties and this type of stuff. And it's very exciting to know that as our kids are now getting out of high school, whether it's North, South, North, Kinston, early college, the alternative school, where it may be, as they're getting out and everything, they're getting opportunities. We coexist every day so extremely well with with the LCC, with the Lenoir Community College and everything, we have students that are going to LCC that are graduating from South Lenoir, graduating from North Lenoir, graduating from Kinston and so forth with 2-year degrees at the same time they're graduating. We have the early college which is doing the exact same thing. So it is, all this is allowing us to sit there and have things such as co-op spirit and companies such as this that will sit there and start attracting better talent with our students and giving them jobs as soon as they finish high school. You know, the key is I want my children to stay in Lenoir County. Okay, I want my children to stay in Lenoir County. The only way they're going to do that, though, is if there are opportunities to be provided for them. And that's the job of these people up here, and that's the job of the people on the board to do the very best job they can do to try and bring that. As far as stance on certain issues, obviously, as I'm just saying, anything, school system is very, very important to me. That's a passion of mine. Obviously, that is paramount to me. Job investment, very, very important. You know, we've got to bring that and everything. Certainly, I am certainly a definite supporter of all, whether it be the EMTs, whether it be firefighters, whether it be police officers, and so forth. I give an example of anything. We've had unfortunate times of having, at times, sheriff's departments had to come out to South Lenoir High School because we've had trouble. Let's say, someone called in a gun or something such as this. I think, look, it's always not been the case, but somebody's made that kind of an assertion, and the sheriff's department's come out. It always warms my heart so much knowing that the people that are running out there to put their lives on the line or so forth, in many, many cases, are South Lenoir graduates. Many, many cases are Lenoir County graduates, whether it's the Kinston City Police or the Sheriff's Department. Lenoir County is very blessed to have people to go into those positions. Do we have people that are not right for the job? Certainly, no doubt about that. Just like we have teachers not right for the job too. We have administrators not right for the job. And when those are if they're not right, then they need to be removed. Whatever needs to be dealt with to deal with somebody to the fullest extent of law, I certainly support that as well. However, I certainly do support law enforcement. A big thing I would like to see, I think Ms. Linda touched on this earlier, is I would certainly like to see more money going to all our county employees, whether it be the people that's working in the detention center, whether it be our deputies and so forth. I do think that is a point of emphasis I would like to look at. Obviously, I cannot sit there and say what we can do until we look at money issues and everything, but that is certainly something that I would certainly want to do, is certainly support our sheriff's department and so forth moving forward. Obviously, probably the other one I would say that's a big thing mine, and I just mentioned that again, would be infrastructure, bringing jobs here and everything. I do believe that the Global Trans Park is ready to take off. That is something that, and once it does, you can look at the infrastructure with the Phoenix Harvey Highway, things along those lines now. I do really believe that the northern part of the county is about to have that boom like Pitt County and other places have, and if it does, it'll increase the county's tax base and so forth here in this county. As the tax base improves and so forth, then there'll be more money in the county as well. So, but I am a retired educator. I have spent the last 26 years in Lenoir County, 28 years in Lenoir County, and whether it was giving at a school level or now trying to give here as a county commissioner, if fortunate to be elected, then certainly I would love to be able to do that. And certainly what I would say is, finishing up, is one advantage that I think that does come in this is there's a lot of negativity that does come with this kind of a job. Well, I've done that my entire life in the profession I've chosen. Most people did not come to my office to tell me, hey, Mr. Simon, I just want to know you're doing a great job today. There was a problem with somebody. And it was certainly, I do think being honest and being transparent with someone is what you have to be. And if we are that way, then everyone can certainly work well together. I may not, you may not, we may not always agree on an issue, but if we can sit there and respect one another and come to a place such as that, then certainly we can work together. And I see that in the county. I give an example there. When I came to Lenoir County in 1992, we were just coming off city schools and county schools, and the school system merged. our school system did not work well together in 1992, 1993, 1994 because everybody still held on to what they had. And our school system works so much better together today, and of course it's 25 years later, but our school system works so much better today. Kinston High School working with South North High School, working with North North High School, and so forth, because we become one. And I do think, mention of what was said back there earlier, I would certainly like to see our county and our city work much more together, whether it be county commissioners, city board, and this type of thing. I would love to see these two institutions, these two bodies work much more closely aligned. And because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal, and that's to make our children's life better than the life we have now, and so forth. So, but I do thank you for this opportunity. I thank others as well. I concur. You cannot go wrong with anyone you vote for out here. I do thank all these people and everything for their willingness to serve. But I'd like to serve as well, so I certainly hope somebody will vote for me. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Well, obviously, I do think, Joe, there's the one of the big things counties that the board's going to have to do is, as time goes along, is certain things, whether it's structurally, buildings and this type of stuff, which of course is a major economic decision someone's got to make. However, all the schools have to do more with less. That's just a fact. I can remember in 2010, 2011, we were really just beginning to have the cliff. We were just beginning to go over the cliff, and we started losing teachers and this type of everything. And it was all of a sudden, I was told, okay, Ms. Sammy, you're now going to have next year, you're going to have the same number of students, but you just lost 3 teachers. And I was like, woe is me, I cannot. What can I do? There's no way I can sit there and do the same job I can do with 3 less teachers. Then the next year it was 2 less teachers. Well, last year I had 8 teachers less in 2019, 2020 school year than I had in 2010, 2011 school year, even though the number of students was only about 50 or 60 less. You just got to get better at what you do. You know, it took a lot more planning. It looked a lot more preparation. There was no more flinging things on the wall, and you could make those mistakes, and you could get away with it because you had extra teachers. And sure, I would like to have more people and this type of stuff. Other schools would like to have more people, but it made the principals in our school system have to get better at what they did, whether it was simply prepping for lessons, whether it's putting the number of students in the right classes and so forth, making sure the right students were with the correct teaching and everything, maybe behaviorally and this type of study and thing, and so forth. So certainly that is an issue anywhere. I can certainly say at South North High School, we had to do more with less, or had to do more with less for many years now. And I can concur that with the other schools as well. But as I say, we just simply had to get better at what we did. And those schools that have gotten better, I think you've seen major advancement. LaGrange is sitting there and scores are skyrocketing. She has less teachers today. She had 5-6 years ago. Miss Bell's done a phenomenal job. That's just one off the top of my head and everything. You know, you're looking there at Northwest. Scores are getting better every single year and everything. And again, doing more with less. So whether it's a county school or a city school, I like to look at it as one system. Okay, that's the way I think we need to see anything. We got to get away from city, county usage of words and so forth and everything. But you can sit there and look across the county, and I can sit there wherever it is in the county, doesn't matter if it's northern end, southern, or whatnot, I can see improvements. That's simply because they've gotten better at what they're doing. And they've done it with less money as we've gone forward. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
microphone off, but nonetheless, it has a tendency to go off right by itself. All right, and now we come down to Brother Chad Rouse. And as he comes, I just want to share something with you briefly, because I have had a personal opportunity to work with this gentleman right here recently. We partnered, and I say we, my church and my church family partnered with Worldview Ministries, where we had an opportunity to give away food to the community. And I addressed this issue with the police department, with the fire department, and it was just overwhelming what they did. How the city came out, the police department came out, the fire department came out, and we had a wonderful time out there giving those boxes of food away. It extended. We ended up giving 14,000 cases of food out in the community, and we will start again this coming Thursday. But I just want to say that on behalf of the Kinston Police Department, the Sheriff Department, they all pitched in and said, what can we do to help? And they were right here with us, just handing out boxes and enjoying themselves. I don't want to rob him of his time. Good afternoon, Chad Rouse. And just look right there in the camera and tell us who you are, sir.
Well, my name is Chad Rouse. I am a resident of here, Lenoir County, born and raised, 47 years old, graduated from Lenoir High School in 1991. I am the proud father of 6 children. Like Mr. Santaman, my children are 23, 21, 20, 19, 6, and 3. So I currently have 4 in college, 1 in the 1st grade, and 1 in pre-K 3. Okay, that being said, I'm gonna work until I cannot work anymore. I worked for the city of Kinston for 28 years. I started my career, though, serving the community in 1989. Started as a volunteer fireman for Lenoir Voluntary Fire Department. I grew up Post Oak Church out at Wooten's Crossroad. That's where I lived my entire life growing up as a child. I worked on a farm up until I was 15 years old. Luckily, I was able to get my permit, my work permit, and go to work in some air conditioning and get out of the tobacco field. But then I had to work nights and weekends, so kind of one traded one for the other. I will say this, though, as far as just real quick about the candidates, and I've said this before to Tiffany and to Miss Linda. Actually, I ran last time in 2016 with Miss Linda and Mr. Rubin. And, you know, when you get in politics, the only thing I know is TV. You see what you see on TV. So you really don't know what you're going to face. And we had none of that. Miss Linda and Mr. Rubin both helped me tremendously. You know, and when you see the stuff that we see on TV, it's unbelievable, really. And to have, though, I know everyone here, everybody, they know me. And that is a difference. I think it matters. Now, we're not always going to agree, but it's almost like family. If you always agree with your family, something's wrong, or you're telling a lie to yourself, either or. But the community. So when you do my type of job, which is law enforcement now, that's what I do. Like I said, I started out at the fire service. When we went in public safety, we did both jobs, fire and police. You know, you're young, you're ready to go, and again, boy, you've got that training. You jump out in the community, and usually it's your more impoverished communities. That's the ones that the majority of the officers are in, because usually that's where your highest crime rates are. Well, I can tell you this, if your eyes aren't open after serving the community and seeing things that you see, I don't know if they'll ever be open. When you have to deal with services and trying to help someone and realize, well, I don't know why they can't, why you're not coming out. What do you mean? So being poor doesn't account for being able to help them this weekend. They're going to have to come to your office on Monday. And I'm not going to mention no departments by name, but the aggravation I get immediately, because I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me when we have things in place and you're having to fight to get something done. It also gives you a different perspective. Again, I grew up in the country, 8 miles out of town. I came to town to see my grandmother, and that was it. Again, I went to North Lenoir High School. So the only time I was here was to work. The last 15 years with the police department, though, has really has really changed my outlook completely. When I see an entire segment of our population, whether it be in our inner city in Kinston, in our communities out in the county that are just forgot about, or we see them on TV. Oh, well, it's another drive-by shooting. Look at there. Oh, such and such's wife got beat. Look at there. And we're real quick to jump on that bandwagon and start pointing fingers at people. Really is really aggravating to me because, you know, I was always taught you don't judge a book by its cover. We all have our biases, everybody. This is all on how you were raised and where you were raised. But I do believe as you get older, especially if you don't learn from your mistakes or you don't learn from what you see, then you're just blind. Before Ronnie ran for sheriff, me and him had spoke because I thought about running for sheriff. The more I thought about it, though, and I looked at it for what I want to do for the community, the sheriff has no power. Oh, sure, he has plenty of power to lock folks up, but he has no power to really make the change in the community because he don't hold the purse strings. He has to go to the county commissioners and ask for money. The school board has to come to the county commissioners to ask for money. So if you want to make change, the commissioners is where you make change because you control the purse strings. That sounds very easy, and I understand there's so many different steps. But I believe in accountability as well. I believe if we give you money for something, then I expect to see something in return. If we get a plant here and we give an incentive and we pay X number of dollars, but they tell us they're going to do X, Y, Z, they're going to hire 25% of their employees are going to come from Lenoir County. Well, I expect 25% to come from Lenoir County. And if it don't, then they need to pay us back. Being, again, the job that I have and being in the community, I'm out here at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. A gentleman one morning was up at 3:30 a.m. and I asked him. He was at the Kinston Towers. Had his bag and ready to go. So what are you doing? He said, well, waiting on my ride. Where you got to go? I got to go to Dallas. So, okay, what time does he get here? 5:30. Man, it's 2 hours. He said, well, the last 2 times they said I won't hear. So I'm going to be here this time. And I'm going to be here every morning because I get left for dialysis. And I have to get a ride to dialysis. Again, things I don't understand. I don't understand why we don't have a route. We have a transit system, but we don't have a route. You have to call, you have to make an appointment. Well, I see these men and women every morning at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning getting on these vans. Well, if I need a van, I got to make an appointment. Well, why? These are questions that I want to have the control over. So when I ask that question, I don't get a runaround. I get an answer. Now, we do have a county manager. So that's who answers to the board. Well, like most things, I'm held to a standard. If I mess up, then I got to answer for that. Well, if he's answering us, then he's got to answer for it. There's just so much here that we have that is good. But we throw money, and it ain't just here, the state, the nation, we throw money at a problem, but there's nobody standing behind there with statistics going, well, how many people did you help with that money? Or did you just throw it at the wall? Well, most of it goes at the wall. Because if you look at what salaries cost us, that's quite a bit. Again, I don't mind paying for a salary as long as we're getting what we're told to get. The police department. We have had body cameras since 2013. We had them before Ferguson ever occurred. Chief Bill Johnson brought him to our agency. And I will tell you, as a supervisor, they are the best thing ever. We take those cameras, I download those cameras every 2 to 3 days for my guys, and I have 9 people who work under me, and then my kid, and I work for a captain. And you can look at, without them ever knowing, just look at their cameras. If you're having a problem or you get a complaint, I've always been told where there's smoke, there's fire. So if you're getting something and it's a constant problem, well, everybody's not lying. Somebody's got to be telling the truth. Well, when you pull those body cameras up, because of the footage, just like me looking at you, especially our newer cameras, I mean, they're this clear. But it solves a problem usually before you ever have a problem. When Chief James was here, we had Chief Deal Day came in January after Chief James retired. But when Chief James was here, You know, he was very quick to give everybody their process, but if they, you know, some people aren't made to be the police. Some people need to call the police. Yeah, if they weren't need to be the police, show them the door. Chief Dilday's going to be the same way. As far as the sheriff's office and body cameras, I spoke to Sheriff Ingram about the cameras. He shared some of the concerns with me about the cameras, that they fall off when you get in altercations, and they will. The ones that we wear has a pretty heavy-duty magnet on it, but you can imagine, like most things, you go to tussling, it will come off. But the only thing I question there is there's usually not one officer. There's usually 2 or 3 in town. Now, sheriff's deputies are a little bit different because they're so far apart. But my camera may fall off, but somebody else's camera catches everything. And then you get something not from one view, but from 3 views.
Everybody heard me.
And people may say, I may see something, but I never saw that other angle. That wasn't from my view. And it allows you to look at things differently. Again, transparency. The biggest problem we have in law enforcement, I'm going to say we, because that's what I do, is communications. 95% of everything we do is talking. 95%. And when I see things on TV, I try not to money more than the quarterback, because I'm not perfect either. We all make mistakes, and you don't realize what's going on at the time. But if you start from the beginning of most of those problems, you see there's a lack of communications. If we get there and people are screaming at each other and then we join into the screaming, nothing's accomplished because you're getting absolutely nothing done. Now, that being said, again, as that young officer, I was that guy. I got out of the car. I won't listen to nothing. There ain't but one thing going to happen. You're going to go to jail. That's the end of it. That's where I go back to seeing, opening your eyes, realizing that in 1 year, I had 16 uses of force. 16. In our agency, anything beyond standard handcuffing is a use of force. I had 16 of them. I had the most in the department. Well, I had the most arrests, too. The most traffic stops, the most citations. Well, I'm working it hard. 16 uses of force. Then I went to a class called verbal judo. I hated it. I was sent there because I had those 16 uses of force and I'm doing nothing wrong. So why are you sending me to this class? And when I tell you I hated it, I mean I hated it the first day. Well, it's a 4-day class. Day 2, halfway through, I started listening. I dropped my attitude and I started paying attention. By day 4, I loved it. I learned a thing called options and how to talk. And that was in 2012. Well, I am now a verbal de-escalation instructor, which is kind of comical. Because people who know me from the beginning go, oh my, how you? Well, I'm the pot calling the kettle black. That's the end of the line. When I tell you I've made these mistakes, you don't need to make those mistakes. That's what I believe. As far as a board member goes, I just believe in accountability. I know we answer to a county manager. He answers to the board. But I do believe that with department heads, the bottom line is if you have a problem with DSS, then you should be able to get an answer. If you have a problem with Parks and Recreation, you should be able to get a problem. I mean, you should be able to answer. You know, with an at-large position now, it's the whole county. It's not one segment, it's the entire county, which, of course, like Tiffany said, includes Pink Hill, LaGrange, and the Grifton area as well. Well, the communication, when you go out and talk to folks, well, why does it matter? Well, it matters. You know, if you go to Pink Hill right now, their bathroom is the doors coming off one of the bathrooms out by the softball field. I asked about it to the town. Well, that belongs to Parks and Recreation. Well, I don't know if it does or it don't, but it looks terrible. Myself and Mayor Hardy, we talk about the grass all the time. And I know other commissioners talk about the grass too. I also realize that's a state function. Well, you know what? At some point, you got to quit saying it's somebody's function and stand up. Say, okay, well, we're going to fix it, and then you're going to pay us back. I mean, if you allow a window to be broken, I'm sure you all have heard of the broken window theory. If you allow that window to be broken, well, eventually all the windows are going to be broken. And then it just becomes, oh, okay, whatever. But it just looks horrible. If you're going to attract things here, you at least got to look good when they come in. If they don't, they're not coming. But the biggest thing I can just say about myself, and, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with everyone here. me and Tiffany have had the opportunity to work quite a bit together, is that I'm straightforward. Sometimes I may be a little bit too straightforward. I have to kind of check myself. I believe in accountability, and I believe that everybody is accountable to somebody. As commissioners, we're accountable to the public. So if you don't like it, I'm very easy to find. I don't hide. My telephone number's out there, my Facebook, everything is me. And I'd rather you come to me than run around behind me and say what I'm not doing, because I might not know what I'm not doing. Or I've not had a chance to sit with the county manager yet. I was not a fan, and I'm hoping maybe he'll change my mind of the pay study, because as a city employee, I've seen pay studies, and to me, it's a waste of money. We have an accountant, we have a lawyer, and they're being paid. Why am I going to pay an outside agency when I can go on Google and I can pull the information myself? Now, that's my own personal opinion, and maybe he can change my mind. As far as benefits go, like Tiffany, I've been there. $1,400 a month is too much to pay for a health plan. And that is not an exaggeration. So I'm all about benefits as well, and understanding that there's things that are out of your control, but there's also things that are in your control. And that might come down to tearing that budget apart. And I mean tearing it apart. Not the department head, but making everybody account for every single penny and pull it out. Because we all know it's just like our households. We have waste. There is waste. If somebody tells you there's not waste, something's wrong. We also need to stop the habit of government spending all the money by July 1, because you're not going to get that same money next year if you don't spend it all. So let's just spend it. That's got to stop. We're not going to punish, or we shouldn't punish, a department head because he had some money left over. Maybe he's just good fiscally sound versus just, we got to spend it. Again, just one person. You have to get the board. You have to get 3 to come with you. But again, I am not a yes vote. I've made that very clear. I am a registered Republican, but I am not a yes vote by any means. I joke with people all the time. 2 plus 2 is 4. I don't care how you spin it. You tell me it's 5, it don't matter, it's 4. And I'm stubborn. And as you probably tell by my facial expressions, I don't hide well. You can pretty much look at my face and tell when I start getting aggravated. I'm just down home, I'm down to earth. I like talking to people. Sometimes I like to talk too much. I mean, I don't know when to shut up. My wife's in the car. They'll sit out there for an hour and drive off and leave me because I just talk. That being said, though, I do want to be your at-large county commissioner. I feel like I can work with everybody on the board. I really can work with the city council because I have a working relationship with every one of them. Not just one, but every one of them. And having the ability, again, now we don't always agree, but what I have found, especially when you get outside the realm of the public, where you sit down at a table and have a conversation, if there's 10 things, you agree on 5 of them to begin with. There's 2 more things you can work on, and in that third one, you just come to a good compromise, and now you've walked away with 2 things out of 10 that you didn't get accomplished, but at least you got something done versus nothing.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, Chad. Now, with a show of hands, how many of you all are Republicans? And the rest are all Democrats, except for... We want to say to all of you all, first of all, we love you guys. Your community love you guys. We're dependent on you all. And we must build these bridges. It's not Democrat, it's not Republican, it's people. Caring about people. Sharing, doing our best to make our city, our county, and the place where we live and our kids grow and our families grow. We will have a unique Kinston. This is my home. I was born and raised here. And we're gonna have a unique Kinston. And it's gonna take people like yourselves that'll reach across the aisle, no affiliation, no marriage to a party, but seeing people, loving people, and caring about people. And because I know in my heart you cared enough to come out tonight. It's rainy. You could have made excuses. But we are so thankful. This is our first town hall. We've kind of new at this. But our attempt, and I say our because Dr. John Gooden there. I always call him Dr. John. Everybody needs a doctor. He had a heart and a compassion to want to try to bring the candidates together. I did too. I've been trying to work with the community to just get information so when we go to the poll, that we just don't vote because of a color or a particular party, but we vote a consciousness of knowing we're sending people to serve us, but yes, they're not our slaves, but they are people too. So thank you so much for coming out. I think one thing I would like to say, because I just saw this briefly on the news this morning, I think one of the longest serving police officers in our city, Officer Simmons.
Mr. Levi was 50 years in law enforcement, and he didn't want to retire, but his health had got him a little bit, and he had to retire on us. But now
we all remember him.
Mr. Levi, I shared his story the other day in class. I'm currently at school. That's why I was late. Mr. Levi was mopping the floor in Jacksonville, North Carolina, at 19 years old. Mopping the floor. Police chief walked by smoking a cigar. Walks by him, stops, comes back. And this is Mr. Levi telling the story. He's like, "Son, you want to be the police?" "Yes, sir." "Be in my office in the morning, 8 o'clock. He said he showed up next morning at Sunday close for an interview. He spoke to the chief. When he left there, he left with a gun, 5 bullets, and a radio. He told him to walk downtown. He said, that's how Mr. Levi started in law enforcement. I mean, you just can't. That's how the man started. And his career, though, most folks don't know what all he did in his career. I mean, but his career was just long-spanning. And he was a good man, too. I mean, you know, he was just, he loved it. He really did. You could count on him, too. You really could. We're going to miss him.
Just wanted to recognize him, and I think John is going to have a few words kind of towards the candidates. But again, I would personally say thank you all. Thank you all. You have really made my day. Some of you all I have had the opportunity to interact with, and I know y'all real good. Some of y'all, this is my first time. But don't pay that no mind. I'll be around someplace, okay? And also this coming Thursday, if you got friends or family, do tell them. We will be giving away these food boxes. We are partnered with World Vision Ministries, and we have the whole month of October, every Thursday around 10 o'clock in the morning in the parking lot over next to the church on the corner. We'll be there to help our community, and you know some hurting people. Send them our way. And if they can't come, let us know. We'll do all we can to support them and help them. If we have to take it, carry it to them, so be it. We'll just call the police department and give them something to do.
First of all, I'd like to thank every last one of y'all for coming out, because like he said, you really didn't have to. Plenty of reasons why you shouldn't have came out. Rain, some people like to sit back and relax. But I do appreciate you coming out. I think everybody kind of summed themselves up pretty well. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to offer up one last thing for you to say about yourself on the way out. Appreciate you, Chad. A lot of what he said is spot on. And that's not to highlight anybody. I'm just saying. I think it was Gandhi that said, the true measure of any society is how you treat the most vulnerable people. If you take a look around in this area, they're not that well treated. It's easy to get comfortable with where you've been and where you're at. There's a scripture that says you must become all things to all people that you can reach them, which means that if you've always had it one way, you still got to take time to consider that one over there. That being said, Kinston needs some help. I know we've said it's on the up and up. Some things are going good, but until we do something about these young people, because it's like he said, it's easy to talk about the shooting, the gang-related stuff. It's easy to say they just need something. They just crazy. They don't. No. They need something to do. They have nothing. Most things have been snatched away from them. And employment is a major thing. I know we've got the jail, we lock people up, but after you lock them up, are you gonna give them a job? You can't hold somebody 16 accountable for something the rest of their life because they messed up. Just something for you to think about. Like I said, I appreciate I appreciate everything y'all said. And honestly, I would love to sit down and have a real conversation because I believe there's some things I could point out to you. Chad probably has had more up close with him being in law enforcement. But, and I heard Mr. Santaman and Mr. Parks, I heard y'all say y'all support him. And I just want to let you know that just because there's criticism, it doesn't mean that you don't support them. Do you need them? Yeah, you need them. But until you look at statistics that show you how often you get pulled just for being black, or how often you just get stopped. And they've got numbers. I mean, like I said, this is not the time nor the place for it, but if you will get with me, I can show you numbers that tell you, in as much as you may say, color doesn't really matter. Sometimes it does. Do I think that all of the officers are bad? No, I don't. I do think that there could be some improvement in training. I think, like Chad said, the body cams make a world of difference as long as you have it on. And there should be penalties for not having it on. Other than that, I'm just about done. And I know I told y'all I wasn't gonna hold you this long, went a little longer than I thought. But if you would, if there was one thing that you would want somebody to remember about you on the way out, quickly. Each candidate have an opportunity to say your piece. Please, let's try not to be super long. And after that, we'll be dismissed.
Not everybody at one time. Just come on. Just come on. We will.
Fair. Now, if I leave here today, fair. I asked my father, who's 75 years old, who's in great shape, how did he want to be remembered? He said fair. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you're never going to make everybody happy. But if you know that you did all that you could do, you go home and go to bed and thank God that, you made the difference you could make and get up tomorrow morning and, hey, let's do it again. So my one word is just fair. Thank you.
Jay.
Again, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. And I would leave with the saying I told someone the other day, I'm only promise I'll make is I'm not going to make any promises. But I will be honest, I will be open, I'll be transparent, and I'll treat you with compassion, regardless of who you are or where you came from. And I, too, agree with what Mr. Gooding said, city needs help. And as a county commissioner, what role we may play, I'll be willing to listen, to sit and talk. And thank you again.
Again, Pastor, I'd like to thank you for inviting us tonight and letting us come. And certainly I would just simply say that if elected, I'll do the very best I can to be the the best county commissioner I can possibly be. I'll be honest. I will be transparent. I'll be easy to find. I do care about everybody. I've proven that. 28 years of education. You know, a lot of people talk about racism. A lot of people talk, color doesn't mean anything to me. I do not see that. I certainly want to help everybody. My job is simply to make sure that Lenoir County is better 20 years down the road than it is today than it was 10 years before and so forth. Again, all these people here are fine people and do an outstanding job. I'm not going to knock any of them. I did not get in this to run for any reason other than simply I wanted an opportunity to try and serve in another capacity after I got out of education. So certainly, I'm blessed to have your vote. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Again, thank you for having us tonight, for hosting this event. It's been a real pleasure to be here. I'm going to say something that Mr. Park said earlier. When I was 28, I think, and my dad was 55, and he was in a hospital bed in Sampson County. He had had 3 heart attacks. He passed away 2 weeks later, but he worked in public health, as I mentioned, and I was in there talking with him, and I was really frustrated in my work at that time. I said, "How do you do this, Dad?" He said, "You just always treat people the way you like to be treated." And that's what I've tried to do throughout my career. And the other thing I'd like to share is people say there's nothing to do here. There are so many opportunities. I'm not talking about young people, and I did serve on the Juvenile Crime Prevention Council forever. But there's so many opportunities for volunteerism. I have been on multiple boards because they want people to jump in, to make a difference, to say what they think. And so I have this actually on my wall. It was given to me when I retired. It says, "I'm not busy, I'm just blessed with opportunities to serve." So that's what I want you to remember about me, and thank you for this opportunity.
Good evening, and thank you all again for this opportunity. I think the first thing that I'm going to say is the thing that's most transparent. And it is not necessarily that it matters per se, but it does matter. I'm the only African-American up here tonight. And I'm not saying that that matters because color matters per se when you talk about serving. But what I do know is that representation matters. And I didn't run because I'm a Black woman. I can't help that. But I do know that diversity and representation matters. I do know that I want to continue the legacy of the Miss Jackie Brown, because women think differently overall, but Black women offer a different perspective. Again, I'm gonna repeat, I didn't run because I'm a Black woman. I just so happen to be that. But my opinions, my perspective, my unique life experiences matter. And also, I'm at a completely different stage in my life. I'm not retired. I'm not getting ready to retire. Me and my husband are still in the state of trying to pursue what we call the American dream. So I just hope that you can appreciate my unique experiences. I promise to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And I pray that you will vote for me this coming election season. Thank you.
I want to thank those of you that have put this on tonight. I wish more people would do things like this. I want to thank our audience for listening, to take the time to do that, because it does make a difference when you go to the polls, if you know the thoughts and the feelings of people. One saying that's always stuck out to me in my life, and it's meant a lot, is, you know, when we leave this earth, it doesn't matter what kind of car you drove. It doesn't matter how much money you had in the bank. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. What does matter is what have you done to make a difference in somebody's life? What have you done to make things better for them? And that's what my parents always instilled with me, that everybody's the same. It doesn't matter what you're rich, poor, whatever. We're all the same, and we need to help each other. And as been mentioned tonight, I think as long as we work together to do that, we can make it a better county. And that's what I've strived to do for years, and I'm ready to keep on keeping on. So please consider me. Thank you.
All right. Well, we do have a few guests in the house. He's telling me to go over here. I don't know what that means, but anyway, it's time for us to go. And And if you like myself, grab a little supper or something. Again, I would like to say thank you all for sharing, caring, and coming out to share with us on tonight. Now, you know, I got that little preacher in me, so I can't send you out without a little bit of prayer, okay? Now, I don't know who your God is, and I'm not trying to convert you, but my God is the God that created the heavens and the earth. And I believe that he's among us and taking care of us. In this COVID situation, this environment that's got us all changing, we're going to be okay. Lord, we thank you for the night. We thank you for the day that brought the night. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, and thank you for watching over these. And Lord, we send them forth now with the grace of our God, the sweet communion of his Holy Spirit, resting, ruling, and abiding with them all. This is our prayer. Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir.